Sorry, that took a second there. We are in game number 3 at the moment, guys. Back on the North American server. Polt versus Stork continues in the best of 5 Home Story Cup top 8 qualifiers. Well, I guess it's Home Story Cup 9 top 8 tournament, to be more specific. Either way, spawning here in the bottom left corner of the map, the blue Protoss player known best as Stork from Samsung Galaxy. His opponent in the top right, representing CM Storm, the red Terran player, Polt. Okay, this is a map that's not nearly as blinkable, I suppose. To explain this real quick, guys, we look at a map like Frost, and for me it's easy to identify and say, like, look, this is a good map for Blink. One of the things that makes it so effective is because you're able to get in from multiple angles. You don't have to worry about dodging around. You can start snowballing pretty quickly. Overgrowth doesn't present that same opportunity. To get into the main and the natural, the terrain alone just makes it more difficult, combined with the fact that, of course, there's going to be watchtowers and other such things to help scout this coming. Polt didn't see that coming for a long time, but he did prepare for it. I don't know if it was because of slight delay, latency, whatever, but I think one of the biggest strengths from Stork in that game, those time warps, baby. If those time warps had been anywhere else, that game may not have gone the same way it did, because I think, honestly, that was the breaking point. If the SCVs being pulled did not get stuck within the time warp, if they had been on the front lines when a majority of the Marauders were still alive, that could have very well have been Polt's game. Because keep in mind, guys, when someone decides to 2-base blink you, as a Terran player, all you really have, your job is to hold. You hold and you'll probably win with a counterattack 9 times out of 10. Polt did his best. He did his really good defense, honestly, and I did not think that would break him, but in the end it did. Now we go to game number 3. It's tied up 1-1, and curiosity peaks with, what does Stork do? This is kind of what I was talking about before, though. It's not Polt who has to worry about Stork dictating the actions, it's Stork who has to worry about Polt's actions, and by cutting that out right away with that sort of build, it just immediately gives him a nice headway going into game number 3. And again, it's not like this is an easy opponent. Polt is like WCS champion type thing here, guys, so for Stork, he's gonna have to pull all the stops. Now, one of the things about this map, sorry, I leaned away from my mic for a sec. One of the things about this map I think all players are kind of agreeing with right now is this map has very, we'll call it, strange thirds. They're not terrible, they're not super exposed, and oh, it's Fast Nexus again. But they're also further away than you would normally have, and there's a lot of opportunities to attack from multiple angles. Whoop, whoop. Take down the rocks, go through there, do drops for both players too, no less. Not just a Terran player, but what is this Reaper looking for? I was gonna say, you can't jump up there, Polt. There's jungle in the way. Okay, he's gonna get up here and poke around. Mothership Core does not pick up the Reaper this time. Polt's been able to get like a probe kill every game so far. Diving into the mineral line, of course, very risky as we see the immediate response of those probes. But again, we've got that really nice Sim City behind the mineral lines to keep this from getting too out of hand. It's such a subtle thing that Stork does, but it's so critical at influencing the way this little tussle goes. Because keep in mind, again, he would have gladly, rather than run back through the Mothership Core, just gotten around the mineral line to try to get out of the base that way, but Stork very much limits that. But that's a pretty fast robo coming down. Again, the start of this ends up being the fact that it's, you want to have the detection out. Widow Mines are always going to be on your mind, whether it's a Widow Mine drop, Widow Mine rush, proxy factory, proximity. I mean, whatever the case is, an observer's never bad to have right away. But this also fast forwards his tech towards Colossus. You can't build the Robo Bay without the Robo Facility, thus you want to be able to build Colossus a little bit sooner to deal with Polt's most likely bioforces. I cannot for the life of me remember the last time I saw Polt play mech. I know he played it like once ever, like Zotac, but he's pretty much been a bio guy from start to finish. He's done it in TVT a few times, actually. I'll take that back. We've seen some pretty good matches of Polt versus Josh and Polt versus MMA in the past, but yeah, you're kind of set in knowing that you're going to be coming against a Terran player who in TVP especially is going to be sticking to his guns, sticking to bio. Now, what's kind of interesting too, by the way, guys, just while we had a bit of downtime between the games, I did take a look at chat, and I know that some of you guys have been talking about like getting storms out to deal with Polt, but if we're going to be quite frank and honest, the Charge Let Storm strategy, it's not been around for a while and for good reason. It's not as effective as it used to be, and with the Mobius reactor change to the Ghost, it's a lot easier to get those EMPs out in order to deal with the Templar, or even Snipes for that matter. So, while it's a cute idea, one that I think maybe could work once in a lifetime, it's not one that you're going to use as your go-to versus somebody like Polt, who, again, control is fantastic. Reaper will dive past this through the probe line, pulls the probes off the line, gets past this. It's the $1 million run. However, does go down. Doesn't quite get. Actually, did that see the top of the cliff? No. Okay, so he didn't see the Robo Bay or Robo Facility. Sorry, but he did see double forges. Now, as a Terran player, when you scout double forges, this is kind of a bit troublesome because A, you can't really punish this, not anytime soon, because you can, the overcharge will keep these off, the sentries, the force fields, you name it, it's good to go. But also, it means that there's that danger that there's going to be double upgrades. As if armor upgrades aren't difficult enough to deal with as is, double both armor and weapon upgrades become incredibly scary. And whether that's gateway units or not, oh my god, I didn't even catch this. We had Hellions made? I should be watching the production tab more. We had Hellions intentionally made out of Polt this time. These are going to serve two different really cool purposes. One, they actually tank Stalker hits pretty well. Stalkers don't deal bonus damage to light, and Hellions are light. They got a pretty nice health pool, but they're also going to tear through Zealots. The bonus damage they deal is fantastic, whatever, but they've got to let that sort of splash going for them. And let's not forget, if the army's busy tangoing, these can run right past, and with 3, can one-shot probes. So an overcharge preemptively popped. The observer gets sniped immediately. God, Polt is so good at that. But yeah, so here's the key thing, guys. Like, let's say the army's tangoing over here. We got force fields going down. We got Stalkers and Zealots. Pew, 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 pew. The Hellies just run right past. They go for the probe lines. That's the threat of this attack. Yeah, immediately goes for the probes with those Hellions. Marine's just kind of set to A move, but the overcharge was already running. This was a really risky move to make in the first place. I almost wish Polt would have waited till he had medevacs out and just elevated some of those Hellions to the main. I don't know, but like that just... If the overcharge wasn't already running, I understand that dive move, but he already knew it was up. That's why he backed away the first time. Either way, doesn't take incredibly heavy losses, but the resources lost right now compared to the units lost needs to be reflected a little bit more differently, because while the Protoss player's down 650 minerals, it's only like 3 units that have really died. Again, pretty much every Protoss unit in the game is much more expensive than any other same tiered unit for the other races, but as a consequence, that cost equates to strength, of course. Now, third base is being taken from Polt while this is happening. On location, I call this a little bit ballsy, but because he's planning to keep applying pressure himself, I think this is actually strangely safe. Blink is coming out, but this is not for like a blink all in at this point, guys, by any means. This is just simply for maneuverability and mobility for the Stalkers, so you can get back to the main in time to catch the drop, so you can get on top of the medevacs right away and focus them down. The Immortal count should keep Polt back from this, though. Honestly, if he goes into this, it's suicide. The Immortals will just wreck the Marauders, and he doesn't stand a chance. So perhaps let's consider starting to get some drops out. But Polt's not your man to do drop harass. Not really. He's kind of the Doom drop guy. It's kind of that Polt like final form move. You know, when you see 8 medevacs fully loaded heading towards the main, you're like, oh boy. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. There's a lot of gateways down at the moment. Structurally, there's 7 gates in total, 1 robo production. So for Stork, I mean, he's kind of he's where he needs to be, quite frankly. Third base is getting up right now, but again, this isn't really a fight Polt can take. He's scanned ahead, he knows precisely what's there. And it looks like he'll just pick off a pylon for free. That's got to be one of the things that makes Polt one of the better players, by the way, guys. A lack of complacency. Where some players might say, screw it, it's 1 pylon, worry about it later. He will seize every opportunity, pick off every probe, every observer, every pylon that he can. But more forces coming forward, and quite frankly, if a drop is planned to go off, it's not going to go undetected. There's 2 observers well positioned out of Stork. He's got full vision of any path that medevacs could come from, and his army's been constantly rotating between the 3rd and the main. Of course, he's going to have Blink now, so he can get up there a little bit quicker, if that's going to be the case, but he's got to be careful. He'll catch a couple of these Stalkers. Nice little catch there had there been no Blink, but Blink also revealed in the same instant. It looks like he will try and force out a bit of a fight. This might open the doorway into the 3rd base. The army for Stork has been pulled back, and that's what he's waiting to see. The second he saw those Immortals, he went for it. Now he's going to stim in and try and get this base. It can still be canceled. Probably should still be canceled, because the Marauders are going to try and finish this off. He's not going to back away from this, and the cancel does go down. It might not be a kill, but it still delays this base, and that's kind of the goal here. It's not about getting 400 minerals for a couple of Marauders. It's not about trading evenly. It's about making sure that Stork can't mine from that 3rd. Now, Polt's supply is looking pretty nice right now, pretty dandy, guys. But again, he doesn't have a lot of AOE to worry about just yet. It is mostly mortals, and actually, whoa, we don't have a Robo Bay. I want to say, I didn't actually catch that. I just assumed it was in the background. But Stork's coming in hard. But What's really not going to work out is this is a situation where you should, you absolutely must pull SCVs because there's no area of effect. It's just Zealots and Stalkers and Immortals, a couple sentries mixed in a Mothership Core. This is one of the rare scenarios where pulling SCVs would absolutely pull you so far ahead. I like the patrolling Vikings as well. They're looking for trying to catch a Warp Prism that he might be anticipating behind this, but one of the big things that we do see Polt trying to sort of dive for is try and get off this Mothership Core to prevent Time Warps from going down. Zealots are going to have charge to get on the front lines. They've got level 2 weapon upgrades, level 2 armor upgrades, and Polt has had a big upgrade deficit. But as we see here, he's trying to kite around this, get towards that third base, pull some SCVs into the action. There we go, turning this around. There's a Widowmine he's trying to retreat into as well, but the Zealots are being herded out. There's but one Archon for area of effect damage. However, those SCVs died so fast. Oh my god, like nothing at all. Marauders and Marines still stimming for their lives, and Marauders are starting, or sorry, the Stalkers are starting to pick off some of the medevacs as he blinks forward here. But this blinks into a couple Marauders. It's that Archon though. The second it gets a blast off, 5 units are going to go down. These units are so low from stimming, and a Marauder dies. Third base got evacuated by the looks of it. But while Polt plays Ring Around the Rosie, he drags Stork's army around. He kites it, giving him time to get more units out, get Widowmines in position pre-burrow, and get ready for round number 2. He just took some pretty heavy losses, and that's not going to be easy to make up for. But now he's actually got an army to fight with. Whereas if that army had gone straight from the third to the natural, Polt would have straight up died. Production lines aren't enough to deal with Protoss a lot of the time. Now this Observer is going to give away the Widowmine, sadly. So I don't know if they'll get some hits off or not. They need to get some hits off to strip shields, if nothing else, but Polt's army is just insignificant in comparison. He's going to have to use terrain to his advantage, and I don't even know if he can do that. More SCVs need to be pulled into the fray because, quite frankly, his Marauder count is dwindling. That being said, though, he breaks a couple of the Archons on the front lines. Blink Stalkers get up towards the main. Sentries are putting force fields on top of this ramp, and this is getting worse and worse for Polt. However, he's got some more Marauders coming out. He's got Marines stimming to their life. He's got these medevacs still standing, but they're all just about dry and out of energy. There's not a lot left here for Stork, but for Stork, this wasn't exactly all in. It's just a dedicated 3-base attack. This is aggressive. This is strong, and Polt looks like he's going to lose the game. He's got nothing left he can work with. SCVs are desperately trying to get money, but GG's called, and even on his home turf on the North American server, Polt can't stand up to Stork. Game number 3 goes to Stork, now 2-1 in this best of 5.